David McCauley. I mainly work in oil paints, but I also do large-scale public art installations. Yeah, my art's changed as I came to the neighborhood. My last couple of years in Miami, I was moving away from a lot of like text-based artworks, dimensional objects and things like that into oil painting. And I've continued that. My studio size is obviously downgraded compared to what I used to work in Miami. So I've worked with smaller artworks. I actually have a travel easel, so 11 by 14 canvas, stretch canvas, like fits in there nicely. So I enjoy being able to go out and do like plein air stuff, whether it's downtown in the park or out towards the beach. I like to be near water when I'm creating. But I think the Tampa Bay art scene really, to me, it feels like low pressure. And I like that, where New York and Miami can be quite competitive and everybody's scrambling to work with this gallery or be in this art fair. And here it's just like, it's really nice to dial it back and be a bit more low key. When I first got here and was feeling that vibe, I was concerned about art sales and even gallery representation. But the first time I participated in the neighborhood art walk here in historic Kenwood, I moved a surprisingly amount of work and got representation at Woodfield Fine Art Gallery. So I was pleasantly surprised with my first taste here. When I create new pieces, I work from outside influences. I like to push my wheelchair around the neighborhood, go for a bike ride, find a scene, and then I'll photograph it. And then I like to utilize that photographic reference. I paint extremely slow. I'll step away from a painting for days, if not a week, and then come in and reactivate my paints and my brushes. So, I admire plein air painters that can set up and knock something out in 4 hours, but that's just not how I am. But I will go out and photograph a scene and then come home and be able to work from that. That way it's the lighting and the angle of the sun and the shadows are all the same, rather than, trying to start something at 9 a.m. and then finish at 4 p.m. Obviously, things are going to be lit differently in that type of time period. So this guy will pop up like this, and I have these straps here. So I can put on the back of my wheelchair and just cruise for however many miles until I find a secluded spot. It's weird, I like to be out in society when I'm creating, but I don't want people on top of me to the point where they're I'm so in public where they're like, hey, what are you working on? Are you working, I don't want that type of riffraff. This guy opens up a drawer, and like I said, those 11 by 14s fit in here really nice and snug. And also another reason, I have multiple reasons painting in that size. One is I no longer have, oh, this is a good one, huh? I should have put this one in there. This is a painting I did of Lily. I was working as a photograph I took of her in Mexico after we sailed in a regatta down there. That was actually our first introduction to St. Pete. We came here for that sailing race, and we sailed to Mexico, and I caught her on the swing one day. So it all fits in here. So it's nice and snug and easy for me to transport independently, which that's really the most important thing. Is if I'm going to go for a 5 or 6 mile bike ride to a destination to paint, I got to be able to do it solo and without assistance. That's always the most important thing for me. And it's durable, as you can see how I bang it up. I used to work a lot with neon, right? There's one of my pieces that's in the living room. And what I've been doing recently, because neon is volatile in the terms of it's not going to explode, but in terms of transporting it, it's, it cracks, it's done. It's not something you fix and replace. It's ruined. So I recently started doing this, and I had this idea and concept 8 years ago to paint like neon. And this is the first try at doing that. And this was exhibited at Creative Pinellas with my 2 other 20-foot scrolls that had positive affirmations from a book about spinal cord injury, and then a bunch of like kind of heinous statistics about spinal cord injury, and then the painting was in between. Similar concept, but it's my adaptive guitar tools that I've been working with the past couple of years, like to play music, but I also have fabricated the dimensional objects for that, and since I've built that for myself, we've built 6 or 7 of them and donated them to music therapy programs here and in New York and in Miami and in Boston and in Denver, Colorado, to some of the top spinal cord injury rehab hospitals in the United States. So it's not only is it a project that like, hey, look at my painting, and whenever I have a discovery like that that's moves the needle and is a game changer for me, I immediately want to share it with the community, because I tried a lot of other adaptive things to paint and create art, but also to create music. And some are crap and some don't work very well. And when I discovered this whole technique with slide guitar and open tuning and using an adaptive slide, I was like, wow, this is a game changer for me. And yeah, I just want to get it out there so other people can share that experience, because with traumatic injuries, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injuries, all these things that are your passions, your hobbies, kind of get ripped away. You're a skateboarder, you're a snowboarder, you're an artist, you're a musician, and all of a sudden your legs and hands don't work. It's like, what the hell am I going to do now? So you have to rediscover, and that's actually the name of the piece. It's called Resurrection, and so I did that same neon technique over the front of the adaptive tools that are at the museum. So yeah, it's like a rebirth and relearning of doing something that you love and are passionate about, but in a different way.